My journey into calisthenics as a doctor. So this video is a breakdown of my entire calisthenics career, all the way from the beginning. I personally love watching these type of videos because I find each person's journey fascinating, and I love watching people transform and becoming better. And I just wanted to reflect and share my own personal journey. So if you haven't seen it already, I have made a very brief transformation video up here. It's a bit cringy and it probably needs updating and probably need to make a new one, but that's if you just want a quick brief summary. But here I'm going to go into a lot more detail of everything that I've done throughout my entire life and what I'm doing now. So let's bring it back right to the start. So when I was a kid, I'm very lucky. I had a very sporty and athletic family who always actively encouraged me to do sports and train. My chosen sport as a kid was swimming, so I used to swim roughly 3 times a week. And I continued that for most of my childhood. So from ages 6 to 18, I was swimming 3 times a week, pretty much every week. I was at a pretty good level, but I never took it to the next level. I was never going to the nationals or anything like some of my other swimmer friends were, just because I had no particular desire to get to that level. I enjoyed swimming, I enjoyed the social side and keeping active, but I never really wanted to wake up early before school and train twice a day, every day. That wasn't really the life for me. At the same time, when I was swimming, I was doing home workouts with my dad probably once a week. I remember we used to do it every Wednesday night. So we usually just do basics like push-ups, pull-ups, and then some basic weighted exercises. And we also had a rowing machine at home, which we'd jump onto. And I really wish I had some footage to show you of those days, because there was a lot of training. And it would have been cool to see my progress as I was growing, but phones weren't really a thing those days, so I have literally no videos, which is a shame, but I have a lot of good memories of it. Then at around age 16, I wanted to get big muscles, so I started lifting more weights, going to the gym and stuff. When I became 18, I started medical school, and I started to take the gym quite seriously, lifting weights regularly, and had a classic bro split where I was doing back and bis, chest and tris, and legs basically. And I did put on a bit of muscle, but never as much as I wanted. I was never as big or as lean as I wanted to be. I was always kind of chasing something but just not really getting anywhere with it. During my first year of uni, that's what I did pretty much every week. Then after the first year, I actually became quite unwell with something called reactive arthritis, where all my joints became inflamed and I couldn't train for a good couple of months. I basically lost all my gains, so I became quite skinny. I was not really training. Yeah, it was quite a difficult time. This, however, was actually turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it made me question why I was training. Was I training to look a certain way? And it made me reflect on the fact that my training was quite vain. I was pursuing vanity essentially. That was the whole purpose of my training, was to make my body look a certain way, which isn't a bad thing, but for me it just didn't work personally. It didn't work personally because I was never happy with what I had. I always wanted to be more muscly, I wanted to be more lean. There was no end goal. And as I recovered from the reactive arthritis, I started introducing light bodyweight workouts into my training. I was barely training, but this was what I needed to get back into working out. And at the same time, or similar time, I discovered calisthenics through YouTube, where I was just watching people do cool shit online, and I was like, I want to do that too. And these are the days like Bar Stars, Hannibal for King, Bar Brothers, and that really inspired me to get into calisthenics. And this helped me to shift my focus on my training to, instead of trying to achieve a certain physique or look a certain way, but trying to achieve certain goals, to learn skills. And don't get me wrong, I still wanted to look good, but it wasn't the focus, it wasn't the primary focus of my training anymore. That had become a secondary focus, and my primary focus was to learn to handstand, learn to muscle up, that kind of thing. And at the start of my calisthenics journey, this would be in my second year of university now, all I wanted to learn was a muscle up, but the university I was at literally had no calisthenics parks, no gym with an adequate bar setup where the ceiling was high enough to do muscle ups. So I just couldn't do muscle ups anywhere. Bear in mind, my university was somewhere called Kiel, which is in the middle of England, in the middle of nowhere, in the countryside essentially. And there's not really any calisthenics community in this place. But luckily, I had one friend who lived in my university halls, probably the only other person in the whole university who was into calisthenics as well. He lived right above me and we used to train together. But because there was nowhere to train, we would just end up cycling around the campus cycling around town looking for places that we could do muscle ups, and we ended up just using scaffolding. That we could do pull-ups and muscle-ups on. Obviously this isn't ideal because the scaffolding would come and go, so it just meant our training wasn't very consistent, it was very sporadic. But despite this, we still learnt to muscle up, we still learnt the basic calisthenics skills, and that's the beauty of calisthenics. It's you adapt to what you have. You don't need fancy gyms, you don't need expensive gym memberships, you just need a bar and you can use anything to hang off. Even if you don't have a bar, just a bit of space on your floor is enough to start calisthenics. And I have really fond memories of these times where I was just cycling with my friend Joe around campus looking for places to train. And Joe, if you're watching this now, I just want to say I'm very grateful to have you as a training buddy. I have very fond memories of those times, and I hope you're still training and I hope you're still progressing in whatever you want to do in life. So at this point, when I was doing a bit of calisthenics, I also got back into swimming. So I was swimming with the Kiel University team. It was more just for the social side and the fun side. Wasn't really trying to get anywhere with the swimming. I did only have one goal in mind, and that was to do 100 meter freestyle in less than a minute. And I did actually achieve that goal, which I was very happy with. So basically for my 4 remaining years of medical school, I was juggling swimming, calisthenics, studying medicine, of course, and also a lot of partying and drinking. So I didn't really make any progress in my calisthenics. I think I learnt to muscle up. I could barely handstand. So I actually don't really consider that period of time to be part of my calisthenics career, just because it was such inconsistent training. Then after I graduated, I moved to a different part of the country and started working full-time as a junior doctor. You'd think a doctor would have less time than a medical student, but actually I found that even though I had long hours working as a doctor, when I came home, because I didn't have to study, I did have time to start training. Whereas when I came home from medical school, I was usually having to study. And because I had this extra time after work, I made the commitment to training 3 times per week, no matter what, essentially. So I've realized this video is getting quite long, so I'm going to divide it into 2 parts. So this will be the first part, and I'll release the second part to explain the rest of my journey. There's still a lot more to go through, and I hope you're enjoying it so far. So if you're interested to see where I'm at now and what's happened since then, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can see the next part of the video. As always, like for the algorithm and leave me a comment. I do answer all the questions, and it just makes my day when I have a nice comment on a video, so please do that. All right, take care. See you next time. Oh my God, that's grim. That repeated on me. Okay, I think we're good.